Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. Now we are on our 12th lecture. Alhamdulillah, and the course relating is the operation research. Topic under discussion will be the decision theory. And under decision theory, we will go through its introduction, its classification, and the steps in decision theory approaches, decision making under uncertainty and under risk. Also, we will go through the criterion of optimization and pessimism and heuristics and regret. So in the last, we will try to see decision making with and without experimentation. If we define decision theory, then decision theory provides an analytical and systematic approach to the study of decision making, wherein data concerning the occurrence of different outcomes may be evaluated to enable the decision maker to identify suitable alternative. And in a practical senses, the decision theory represents the methods for finding a systematic process to find the, for example, the ranks of different universities, for example, the structure of decision problems, and so many other general problems involving to the structures, involving to the engineering, involving to the businesses. So whenever we have to find out some decisions, so the decision theory gives us the analytical and systematic approach towards that study for making decisions. So under decision theory, we follow the steps steps are involved in decision making approaches. First is that we determine the various alternative courses of action from which the final decision has to be made. Then we identify the possible outcomes called the states of nature or events for the decision problem. And then we construct a payoff table. The decision maker chooses the criterion which result is largest payoff. So in the decision, we also find out how to maximize the profit and how to minimize the cost. Then we also try to find out their opportunity losses and their regrets also. So decision making basically again involved with finding the basic feasible solution or feasible solutions. So the types of decision making that we will study is decision making under uncertainty. It means the outcome of a decision alternative is known. There is only one state of nature. Second type of decision making is under risk. So it means the outcome of a decision alternative is not known, but its probability is known. And third is the decision making under uncertainty. So the outcome of a decision alternative is not known and even its probability is not known. So in these three types of decision making, first is the decision making under certainty, and it means that we assume that the complete knowledge is available. Deterministic environment is under the decision making when there is a case of certainty. For example, if we see the US Treasury bill investments, so typically for structured problems with short time horizon, sometimes decision-making DSS approach is needed for certainty situations. And in decision making under uncertainty, probability, and expected value is given. We draw the decision trees, we find the sequential decisions, and then we find out the risk and aversion. Expected utility we also can find out, and expected utility and risk aversions can be found under the decision making in case of uncertainty. If we compare the risk and the uncertainty, so uncertainty and absolute certainty is risk lie between uncertainty and certainty. In case of uncertainty, probabilities and expected outcomes are unknown. And in case of risk, some knowledge of probabilities and expected outcomes is available. So in the case of absolute certainty, probabilities and expected values and outcomes are known. So here the system is fully defined, or here we have the problem of maybe probabilities and expected outcomes are unknown. So personal that views the problem and have to take the decision. So personal values or preferences case may you have to make the decision. So in this case, information is available, certainty. So in case of certainty, emotional support. So in case of uncertainty, time constraints are there, current risk is there, labeling and unmet needs. So you take decision that keep on going. So decision making, there is also some situation where there is decision making with the help of experiment and without the help of experiment. So in case of decision making without the experiment, decision makers must choose an alternative, form a set of feasible alternative, then for define the state of nature. State of nature means factors in place at the time of the decision that affect the outcome. Then find out the payoff table, and the payoff table shows for each combination of decision alternatives and state of nature. So 5 steps are there for decision making process. First step is to obtain information. Second step is make prediction about future costs, and third step is choose any alternative, and the fourth step is implement the decision, and fifth step is evaluate the performance. So this all procedure is just like as we have gone through in the linear programming, that we first find out the problem, we state the problem, and then we convert it into the with the help of quantitative techniques into the mathematical models, and then for converting into the mathematical models, we define the variables. Then after defining the variables, we define the our objective function, and then our objective, after objective function, we define the constraints of the objective functions, and then we define the non-negativity or the conditions of the constraints. So in this way we formulate a problem. So decision making process is on the same basis, and in decision making we also try to find out the feasible solution, and the feasible solution for the feasible solution, and for the feasible decision, you have to collect all the information, and you have to make prediction about future cost, and then you have to choose any alternative and implement the decision, and then you have to evaluate the performance. So this is all about the decision making theory, and we will go through inshallah in the lecture. So the decision theory, under decision theory, we will go through the topics that the types of the decision making, and we know that there are 3 types of decision making: when there is certainty, when there is uncertainty, and where there is risk involved. Then we will try to find out their different criteria of optimization, pessimism, and regrets. We try to find out the decisions under the risk also, and we will try to find out the decisions with and without experimentation. For that, we have to draw the payoff tables, and we find the opportunity risk and the risk regrets also. So inshallah class, we will go through this, and I am sure this video, short time video, will help you to understand and take a view and take a little bit idea relating to our topic, and it will help you in the lecture. Till then, Allah Hafiz, Khuda Hafiz, and take care.